followed by two palm workers to hear about the workers' experiences. Now, I need to highlight that due to terrible flooding in parts of New South Wales, it's unfortunate that some of our workers who we had planned to be here, due to roads being cut off, are unable to be with us today. So the way we're going to do it, we have one worker who's here physically with us today from Goulburn, and we have another worker who is joining us on virtually online. And other workers that we had hoped to be here are not able to travel due to the road closures, particularly here just outside of the ACT in parts of New South Wales. So we do apologise. That was definitely out of our control, and they did very much wanted to be here, but that's where we're at in terms of the weather. But without any further ado, I do invite you to turn your eyes to the screen. We're going to play a video now from Newton Orchards. It goes for about 3 minutes, and this will introduce us to our next section, which is the Tongan Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Workers' Experiences.
My name is Luke, and I'm from Tonga, from a little island that's called Iloa. At first, I didn't have any job. I'm just a full-time father. One of my friends said, there is a chance that you can go and work for your family in Australia. It's a new farm. And I said to my wife, look, this is our chance. So I started coming on 2014. For me, it's tough. And to do this sacrifice is a blessing. I do everything to help my wife, to provide for the food and pay the bill. You know, being part of this program is a blessing.
I'm more than proud of my workers. Just visiting the Newton farm, I'm really proud to see the work that they do, and for them to be a good pioneer of the scheme. Some have been working here 10 years. I'm really proud, and they're doing a great job for Tonga here.
I do send money every 2 weeks. I still have my father still living. I have to pay for all the waters, electricities, and everything. I provide for our extended family. We donate money to the school, local school in the island, and we put scholarship to all of the children in the island. And it was really amazing.
Remittances is the biggest economical injection to our economy. And of course, the palm scheme plays a big role. So where we see it's directly impact the grassroots level, individual economical developments, and lift up the level of poverty in Tonga.
I became a team leader on the second year. It's really hard to be a leader. A leader, you must have look like a father to all of your children. If you can ask my team, what do I call my team? I call them a family. So I keep on telling the boys this. Living in Tonga, you will not get this much amount of money. If you quit, you'll never have a chance to help your parents, your wife, your children. So I told them that the right things to do is to stand up and work while you still have time to work.
This is an important program for Tonga. It's good for individual families, it's good for the economy, it's good for the whole country. And of course, it's good for our bilateral relation between Tonga and Australia.
This is the door for all of the Pacific. The advice is come here and work and think of what you will achieve in the future. If you love your family and your children to grow up in a better life, this is what you have to do. You have to sacrifice your life. I would rather do anything to make anyone happy when I still have chance.
Testing 1, 2. Okay, we're back on the air. That's a great video then, a testimony to the great experiences of our palm workers in terms of the contribution it's making, and also you heard there from our Acting High Commissioner, Curtis Tuihalingia as well. Now we're going to hear firsthand from one of our workers, and I'd like to invite Manuma'a Latu'ila, who's here today from Southern Meats in Goulburn in New South Wales. So if you kindly put your hands together for Manuma'a, who's going to come and share about his experiences from a worker perspective on the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Program. Please make Manuma'a feel nice and welcome.
Giving us this life for us very distinct. I would like to share my story, my experience in this life, with the program I'm joining in. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Magma, I'm originally from Tonga. I live in Kofo'o. And my parents, my father is from Tonga. My mom is Kawaii, Papa. We have 5 siblings. I have 3 oldest brothers, and I'm the 4th. And the youngest is my little sister. The journey of my life back in the Kingdom of Tonga. I was working as a teacher. I was teaching as an English. I was teaching music in Tongan language. My life back in Tonga, my father passed away. 2015, and it's been 10 years now since my father passed away. From the 2015 up to this year, we live with my mother. Our mother take care of all our finance, paying our school fees while we're still in school, paying our bills. Up to our time, 4 of us, all of my brothers and me, and so helping our mom, building our family after our father passed away. And my mom, her last day of work is next week, the 28th of May. She's retired from work after working for 40 years in a Tongan company. It's called Tonga Communication Corporation. And she's retired next week from this company, 40 years of being working, just taking care of us since we grew up. Since my journey to this program, I was still a teacher. But when the tsunami and the volcanic eruption hit Tonga, the world knows all about the story. I changed my mind. Our house was damaged, and I changed my mind and I asked my mom, I'm gonna take this program. I want to help my brothers, help you to rebuild our family back since the tsunami and volcanic eruption. I came in this program in 2022. I arrived here in Australia, in Brisbane, on the 28th of April 2022. I started working at the 27 November. It's a challenge for me. It's very tough for me because I'm away from my family. And it's my first time in this program and my first time to be away from my mom and my siblings. But I just tell my mom, I want to try this. I want to rebuild our family. Even though my oldest brothers, they are working, but I just need to help them. And help my mom. I joined this program. I first started working Lava. You don't know, working in Lava is very freezing, very cold. And it's a challenge for me because back in Tonga, the weather is very warm. When it's cold, it's like only 12 degrees. And when I work Lava, I have to wear like 3 hoodie. In the morning. So I can go work because I'm very cold when I'm still working, my first time working Lava. Since I worked Lava for 6 months, one day one of my boss, the company, called me to the office. He wants to take me to the pony room. There's 2 pony rooms in where I'm working. It's called Lave room and Mutton room. So he was taking me to Mutton room. I first started packing. When I first started packing, I look around the room and see all the job. And I think to myself, how can I improve myself to be like that, to how to do that job, to get to the highest of that room. And I tell myself, when I push myself and think about it, maybe that's the only thing that keeps pushing me while I do my work. Is I remember where I grew up. Remember where I grew up. I won't forget if I married. Just think about home and do the work and you take it to where you are. After packing for 1 month, the supervisor of the room take me to another job, it's called drum machine. It's where you cut the ribs apart from the backbone. And I do that job for 2 months. The same supervisor take me to Tonga, to be a Tonga backbone. Then I worked there for so long. It was a challenge for me because I didn't know how to do this job back in my country. But I was willing to do that job. I was willing to know how to do it. So I asked my supervisor. But my supervisor is a Maori. So he teach me about everything in Māori, how to do it. And I follow all instructions about my supervisor telling me what to do. When I was in Tonga, one day one of the Maori supervisor came up to me. I have to move to another Tonga. There's another job. So when I moved there, it's really hard because my hands are really painful, very sore. When I go back home from work, I had to put my hand in a warm water, just for like massage my hand, because it's very hard to be on. Every day my table always pile up, combine 2 tables, pile up. But I just keep pushing myself. I never take my money from where I come from. And like my mom used to say, don't be money. Just go, do your work. other. They let God take him. And this is the only thing I do. Even though I don't have any experience in working in maternity. But thanks for my supervisor for teaching me, guiding me from step by step. And up to this time, I am not only working for maternity. I am working for 4 different rooms. And I was also as a pencil operator. So my first room is mother room, and I'm standing by for another free room. So that free room is some load out and land room and box room. So if there's less people in load out, I had to cover it. So I had to go do the job. But when that room needs me, it just needs me for the pencil operator. But when in the box room, when the machine is broken, they need me there, fix the machine. So I'm just standing by for those rooms. I had to cover some people that are not working. But every day, I'm so much pain, so much struggle. But I never give up. Never give up because I can't just take up my mind, my home, my family. Maybe that's the only way they keep pushing me forward. What did I achieve in this program? 2023, I renovate our family house. Renovate our family house. 2024, my second oldest brother had family. I built a house for my second brother and his family. We built a fence to protect him. And this year, there's a new goal for me this year. Since I told my mom, after you retire, I'm gonna bring you here to enjoy the Australia that I enjoy here. I want you to enjoy the same thing. And my goal for this year is to bring my mom, just to celebrate her after 40 years working for the kingdom. And I asked her what do you need to come here? And he told me, you're gonna take me and your sister and your nephew. 2 nephews. And I told him, oh, where can I get that money? and my mom said, oh, just keep working. So, my new goals for this year, I have to bring my mom and my sister and my 2 nephews. So I want to put a smile on my mom's face. Thanks for taking care of us since we grew up up to our time. We're working at each other. Even though I'm away, but I'm still helping my home, helping my brothers. Even though my two of my brothers have family, but I'm still helping them with their family needs and their things. So they never ask me if I'm tired, if I feel pain. They just ask me, oh, help me with this, help me with the United States and this. I will cover up everything just to make you guys smile. But when I come to Tonga, I'm telling you what I want. So this is when this year, that's my new goal, bring my mom. Next year, I company sponsored me to get a 482 visa for next year. They want me to stay back and work for them. And maybe 2027 I'll be a us.
I ho'onotono lei, ki tua I tu'u I he loto no Tonga whukakai tō lahi koe ni o whai e bahe, koe tala noa, koe anga koe whanau homo whamiri, I neo mo pē e fōu I he whaingata, ko ki kuna ko ia, a ki ho kau mai ki Porokalama mo whaiha whainga, mai whamiri, mo whonua, peo kuatu no tala malu kia te koe. I'd like to acknowledge Manu Ma'a for being vulnerable, being real, being very raw with us today, sharing on his journey of his family, and obviously at a very young age losing his father. For non-Tongans in the room, from a cultural lens, a lot of responsibility falls on his shoulders. Also with his mum retiring, more responsibility falls on his shoulders. And then throw in the midst a volcanic eruption and tsunami, which caused considerable damage to infrastructure and homes in the Kingdom of Tonga, particularly on the main island of Tongatapu. Unlike Australia, where we've got access to a lot of better finances, Bunnings, to go buy supplies to rebuild our homes, Tonga doesn't have that. And so you can see getting a broader picture here of where the PALM program is making a real difference in transforming lives and changing livelihoods back in Tonga. So thank you, Manu Ma'a. Can we give him one more applause? You could be looking at Australians, the next Australian or next Aussie in the next few years through his journey. So thank you very much. Now, we're going to use technology now to cross to our next worker. Our next worker is Halafihi Akauola. He's from Wingham Meats in Wingham, and again, due to weather, was unable to physically be with us in the room. But we're going to see how we go with technology virtually and cross over to Halafihi. Halafihi tatara le koe ki he tau Porokalama koe ahoni, pe wata whangamari koe ni kia te koe ki ke whaiha bahe pe mo kai ngā opu I heni ahoni. I'd like to give this opportunity now to Halafihi to share about your journey today. Mara o pito.
Maravili. Let me embrace a sacred story that we are used to giving in the introduction, and allow me to discuss the topic given to me this past day. Before I talk to my topic today, I would like to talk about my real life back in Tonga and the standard of living with my family. I stayed with my mom, but my dad was passed away many years ago. We had 4 siblings, and I'm the number 5th. Older one is already married, and the second one is already married too. I'm the number 5th. Still looking for someone to go. And the last one is my little brothers. In New Zealand is playing rugby. And let me talk about my lifestyle back in Tonga. I grew up in the high school, and when I finished from high school, then I was get a chance to work in Tonga in the Pacific Timber And my dad is a fisherman. 2013, my dad has passed away. But my family's life was carried from ocean because my dad is a fisherman. And sometimes I think to myself, how can I help my family up? And help my mom and the rest of my siblings. There's a big things I want to talk about today. Number one, my work is food to my family. And number two, have you ever had any questions in your job? And number three, is there anything you can learn from work? My first point is that this activity benefit my family and enable improve many things. I said in the past of 5 years ago, 4 years ago I came to Paddington, Tasmania for the picking fruit. And 5 years I came to Melbourne with the same program for the picking fruit too. All this year is many things helpful for my family as a spare house, buy a car, helping my family for standard of living. And I had these opportunities to come here to the Mid for 4 years. And this is my third year at work, trying to help my mom with her needs for the church, family, and the village. Likewise, the purpose of the one who is coming from the future, because every time I think to myself, all my job is done for my family. Maybe right now, I still saving for one day I can be find someone to be waiting to have a wife, to build a family for the future, because I have a plan right now. The second point is the workplace being good for me, and my answer is this. I am very happy to be involved in the workplace because I can meet different people and make many acquaintances. Sometimes the problem like that social life and social talents that I enjoy very much. Like we have a problem show our culture and show the different countries we meet here. The third point, have I learned anything from this show? My answer is this. I already know many things about the show. And I am confident that I will be able to return back to Tonga to run my own business according to the knowledge requirement I learned in the workplace. Many work here inside the workplace I already know it. I started joining the work in an uncomfortable situation, but I spent a lot of time praying. Although it wasn't good because it took it back every week. I have enough courage to endure, even though I had a different thoughts, but I thought I was here for a job, just for 7 months, plus every mind was satisfied. Later in 2023, I applied for a higher position in my area, the starter floor, and from 10, I'm in the highest position of work. It's the starter man. Since I started working in 2022 until now, I haven't stayed or missed any working hours. Many times I felt lazy, and many times I felt sick, and I couldn't sleep, but my willpower was strong, and I thought I was doing for myself. It's a blessing that now I have a little opportunity to extend my working hours. Your choice is small and you can't do big things. Your choice is to stop. Your choice whether to be free in the next job or to quit your job and no longer be important in the job. The reward for the good work is added to another work that is greater and a blessing. Let's stand up and make a choice with the community and look at our individual choice. Let me encourage the youth in Tonga, also the people who came in this program. When you come here, you must satisfy yourself and look forward at your home. What business of food is on your parents' table? And what business of food is on your table, your wife and your children? Everything is possible if you play the card. Sometimes you think it's giving up, and sometimes you're lazy. But if you hold your parents or your wife or children in your heart, keep it. There is no way to victory, but you need to pray. Also to understand why you're here, is to work your family back in Tonga. Or when you finish your working visa, then you come back to Tonga. Your family is happy, and the village is happy too. because you have many alerts you get from a job. Also your family. You need to understand how everything is done here for your job. Even though your life here is full of pain and you face many struggles here, you must pray. Let me talk about my life when I stay here for Bingham. Sometimes I stay in my room, think about my mom, think about my family back in Tonga. What they are doing. But all these things, they encourage me to work hard. All this stuff, I know why I'm here. There's many I've made when staying here, the workplace. I have a good things, and I'm very happy to come and join you guys. To talk about past life back in school, also how life here. And appreciate for the moving your community this later. And I was very happy. Before we have a program here in Bingham, and I meet with Bob, and I found the letters he gave to me, and he said, can you come and join us? And I said, oh yeah. And I tell him, what can I do? And he said, it's a job. You talk about how life is done. Family. And you can do it. I really appreciate the Tongan High Commission for this chance to talk about my life, my family. And that's all. Thank you. Love you.
Halafihi o ku matua ki ongo mai kia tiki mau tolu ho o waipahe I he ahoni. Māloho tuku taimi ni ongo pē ai ngahi whakataa whakai matula o whakatuunga ai ke si Lava. Mai ko ia mei hena ki he whitu koe ni I kene pela. Ko ma whakamalo atu koe wi koe teknolosia o ma Lava ai ke tau whitu taki o makatuunga ai ho waipahe maari I he ahoni. Just like to acknowledge that despite weather not being on our side and Halafi not being able to be with us here physically, his words and his story truly resonates with us. One of the takeaways I had from Halafihi's story today was the importance of faith, family, and future. You know, if we strip back for a moment cultural differences, nationalities, ethnicities, that kind of thing, there's a very common goal of humankind that's resonating throughout the sharing of both Manuma'a and also from Halafihi. And that's aspirational goals for the future. One thing I picked up from both of their stories was when they're in the workplace, they're moving to another area, a promotion. Upskilling might be attract a higher wage as well. And it's pushing them forward to think about their future, higher duties, promotional opportunities. Goals about creating a family and settling down. Goals of going back home and maybe starting a business. Future goals to maybe move to Australia permanently. Food security and doing renovations to the home. So I think these are just some of the takeaways and the impact, the positive impact that this program is having. I believe currently we have approximately 4,000 Tongan palm workers currently onshore in Australia. I might be a little bit off on those numbers. And although we have a big Tongan diaspora here in Australia of over 45,000 Tongans, I think it's true to say that most of our diaspora probably don't remit money back to family every single week or every wage. Maybe once a month, maybe some more, some less. But our workers are sending money back home. So if we had 4,000 workers, and if they sent only $100 back home, that's it, a year, nothing else. That's $400,000. Translate that to Tongan pa'anga at a rate of roughly 1.55, you're looking at 620,000 pa'anga. This program is making significant impact on Tonga's economy as well as that of the other Pacific islands. And I take my hat off to workers like Manuma'a and Halafihi for the sacrifice away from family, from a country and nation where family is very, very close, to move away to unfamiliar surroundings for many, many months and sometimes years for the sacrifice and the love of family. So it's very inspirational. Can we put our hands together for Halafihi and also for Manuma'a today? And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to our panel discussion. So you'll see some chairs here at the front. We are going to do a panel discussion, and this will be your opportunity to ask some questions before lunch today. So I'd like to invite our representative of Nolan Meats, Gullible Orchards, and also Manuma'a. If three of you could make your way down, I think it was Charlotte and Terry and Manuma'a, if you could come down here to the front to the seats. And we are going to have a roving mic. It's going to be like Oprah and Donahue all over again. And you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. Again, we ask that you keep the questions respectful. And it's more easier if you target your questions. So if it's targeted to an approved employer or to the worker, we'll do that as well. I've got a couple of questions myself to maybe kickstart the talanoa and the conversation. So if we could welcome our panelists down the front today, would be really good. Let's put our hands together. So I'll sit on the end here, and if you could take your seat over here. Hey, come on down. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so this is our panel discussion. I know you've all got burning questions that you've all energized after the morning tea break. I might kickstart with a question for our panel, but it's open to the floor. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and George has got the roving mic, and he will go and just wait till the mic gets to you so everyone can hear the question clearly. And then if it's directed at someone, that will be even clearer as well. But just to start, I might target this question at, I guess, at both employers or workers, whoever wants to answer the question. But looking back on your most recent season, what specific practices, either on farm or accommodation and community settings, most successfully honoured the 4 golden pillars of Tongan culture? And how did this impact productivity and well-being? So either, this is probably a question for Terry or Charlotte.
We don't work via a season, when people come in, they're with us for 3, which is now 4 years. We've had that first season extended. I think the 4 pillars has been embraced. It almost seeps into your culture. We're a family business. We're a Christian family. A lot of our Tongan people, all our Tongan people not a Christian. We share similar faiths. We read the Bible. There is a lot about humility and love one another. And I think it's easy to say that we do that in a daily life. That does not allow us to divorce ourselves from the hard parables of faith when you think about the people with talents, and one person had 1 talent, another person had 2 talents, and some had 10 talents. And there's a story there for those that may not be Christian in the audience. And one person was that scared to use that 1 talent. They went and buried it, and then they returned it to give back what they'd had. And he was admonished as a wicked and lazy servant. And I think it comes through in our organisation that the people want to make the most of their talents, and I think it fits with the 4 pillars of acting with humility, shared goals, and people try to elevate their qualifications, elevate their skills, multiply their efforts, and it's with all facets of the business. It's with daily goal setting, it's with upskilling, it's with, we have about 290 beds in various accommodation residences around Gympie, and people know that they're there as long as they want them, but they also know that if a new mobilisation or a new cohort is coming, they think about it and say, I'm going to try and find my own accommodation in the community, exert their independence or their development, and they move out to make sure there's enough beds for people coming in. Not that we've ever run out of a bed, in fact we've got too many, but it's nice to think that there's no rules about that, it's just a general osmosis, I guess is the word, where you transfer skills across, where you transfer cultures across. And I'm not sure I'm answering your question, I think I am, but it's because it's probably faith-based, because it's humble, because there's a shared feeling of responsibility. I think it transcends across the whole business, and I can't really put my finger on a single item because it happens everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to share as well, Charlotte?
Yeah, thank you. I might just add to that. So I think our workers from Tonga work well with our family business because of their family values. So it's very simple, my answer. Treating them like family, spending time to have morning tea with them and have a chat to them in the morning, see how they're going. So that was something that we really started last year, was having morning teas, and it was just nice to catch up and have a chat and a laugh, but it's very basic. My other thing that I've noticed is last year we provided free Wi-Fi in their cottage, and it was a huge difference for the guys because especially when they first arrive, even buying a mobile starter pack is expensive when you don't have any money when you first come in. So having free Wi-Fi, so when they can check in with their family all the time, that made a huge difference, and that really goes back to the family values thing.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Do you want to share as well?
I'm going to ask Lave Iloa to introduce himself to you, because I'm talking mainly. The fight for the goal of the day, the goal for no one may now. The day now again. Why do you know my idea? If you're with my Matakari, I'll defeat the kind of issue. Korea, Australia, Japan, kai ko o Australia. Ko we ko tang ba ko na ko. Ko fa pa pa ko na ko. Ko ha tu ko wa nga ko. Ko fa me. Ko fa to ko wa. Ko fa to fa fi. Ko fa pa pa mo ko wa ba hi me a ko fa i to na. Ko fa i to to fa le. Ko fa i be. Ke ka to i ko ma. E fa ka i ko. O vai vai pera na toro e no vai. Ai mau. Me calmo. E fono na ko. Eu o fa e que no pegue, que ka kai ko ni no na o ko hai no ta wa. O e hai ta wa na ma we. O kai ke. Aku tahu e ki ba na to ka ja ku ta. Te fa itu te ofa. Te tau wa fa na we. Ke wa hoko e wa fa na we tu fa tu ku na ke fa la ke. Fa la a tu ku na pa ba. A te tau wa fa na we fa na we. Te te. Ka na ma hi fa tu ni.
So Mama said that it's coming on the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme, come with certain challenges. One of those challenges is working with people from different cultural backgrounds, not necessarily Tongan. Could be Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, even Australian people. They all come with their own unique nuances. And so one thing he's done is to apply the golden pillars of Tongan society in the workplace. Talking to them, asking them, what's your goals? What are your plans? And sharing his own plans with them as well. And he said, hearing each other's goals, it helps to build a close bond with them. And he said, by applying the Tongan pillars, or the golden pillars of Tongan values, he said, I respect them. I tell them, I will respect you and love you as brothers and sisters. And I'll be loyal to you to ensure that we have a cohesive workplace. And he said, when I've done this, it has avoided having any kind of, difficulties in the workplace relations with one another, and has ensured and maintained a strong, close working relationship with one another, and therefore a harmonious workplace. So that's just what he wanted to share, how he's applied the golden pillars of Tongan society for himself and for those around him of non-Tongan cultural background. We might open to the audience now. George, you have a question at the back here. George has got the mic, so just raise your hand nice and high and loud so he can see you. And we can take a question from the gallery. We've got some questions down the front here, George, from our heads of mission, diplomatic cause here. George is getting his steps up today, literally on the steps, getting his steps up.
Thank you, moderator. I'm the High Commissioner of Samoa, and I'm very grateful for this excellent decision by our colleagues from Tonga to make a presentation as they have. Now, we've been talking about culture, and I'd like to address this to the employees here, the employees who are with us. Culture is very important for all of us, and we are three distinct groups: Polynesian, Micronesian, Melanesian. And I'm not sure whether all of them are represented in your particular areas, your companies anyway. But one of the things that came through very strongly in terms of this cultural aspect, but also the familial aspects, because there was one presentation video that went up where there was reference to the comforts of working with family members, people being drawn from the same family. In the context of the Samoan situation, the government has always made it policy to try and spread the benefits right around the country. So they used to engage or recruit centrally through governments. But a decision has now been made to take the recruitment to be done out on constitutional basis. So we have 51 constituencies in parliaments. So it means that every parliamentarian, this constituency, they will be responsible. And that's why I say sometimes we'll say more. But what I'm trying to say is this. When it came to recruitment, there was always the dilemma. Do you go to a village? Or if, in terms of the village setting, sometimes it's easier to go to families. And then you might have groups of the same, cousins and brothers and sisters coming out of the program. And we found that sometimes the social setting is such that instead of having family members being more productive and being a tight working group that would contribute to what you're expecting of them, it's the other way around. That if they don't have a strong leader, the family group kind of falls apart. But whereas you have engagement from a village perspective, it sometimes takes hold because there's a greater peer pressure from a bigger group than it is from a family group. So I'm just wondering whether, in terms of the dynamics that you face as employees, have there been some major issues that you find with whether it's, well, the cultural thing I think is not that bad because it contributes to the cohesiveness in the social settings of the groups. But when it comes to whether it's village or it's family, have there been any issues that may have come up with the recruitment of these type of workers? Are you able to, have you had that sort of experience? Are you able to respond to that? Thank you.
We do have Polynesian, Micronesian, Melanesian, Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese. We have people from all over the world. I'm Irish heritage and still hold my Irish roots. We recruited via the LSU, and as I mentioned, Nolo's here in the audience today, and she selected, or her department selected the people, and they came from Iloa, from Vava'u, from Tonga, and so I think we have a wide variety of people. We do have brothers and sisters. We do have people recommending family members. We do have family members come in. We do have family members that failed to get an interview because they failed a drug test. We try to keep a very objective view, and it is about who we think is the best person for the job. If they happen to be a family, that's good. We've experienced no family disruption in our business. I think we, like everybody has pillars. We have pillars of our own company mission, and number one is about ethics, and we try to be even-handed. We try to encourage people to say please and thank you. We encourage people to treat others with respect. But we do like to think that we do select and promote on merit, and it's the way we've been brought up, and I think Reverend touched on it this morning. You may have to engage different people a different way. We have two sisters that I can think of that come to mind. One is the most outgoing, extroverted person you would ever see, and the other sister you can hardly get a word out of, and I have to approach you differently to approach the other. So I think it's about the individual respect, and as I said, the success of any program is based on relationships, and those relationships in lots of cases are based on merit. And I hope that answers your question.
The question was about villages versus families, and some years we've had absolutely harmonious teams that have gone on very well, and the reality is that you're employing humans. So some years there's lots of conflicts, and other years it runs very smoothly. Last year it went very well, and the workers are about to arrive next Saturday, and we hope it will go well, but sometimes there's a bigger personality or a more dominant person that might take over a bit more. So it's just about managing the people and managing the relationships when they're here, really.
There was a question for the AEs. Thank you, Your Excellency High Commissioner of Samoa. I believe Your Excellency the High Commissioner of Solomon Islands has a question as well.
Yeah, thank you, MC, and also, may I also thank Terry and Charlotte for your presentations. My name is Robert Cicilon, the Solomon Islands High Commissioner here. My question is on the deed of agreement that you have signed with the Australian government. Do you have any issues with the deed of agreement in terms of implementing some of the provisions of the deed, say on accommodation, transport, minimum hours? Do you have any issues on that? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. The deed of agreement has got harder and it continues to get harder. The guarantee of a fixed amount of work has been really hard for us. That's why we are an approved employer, but we've actually gone back to using labour hire companies because we can't guarantee 6 months of work. So now we work with on Pacific Labour, and when we've finished our harvest and pruning, they will move the guys on to another job, and last year that was in Tasmania. The deed also doesn't allow for wet weather days, which is incredibly hard in agriculture to plan if you're going to give the guys a 38-hour week every week. There are ways around it. There was some carryover, I believe, that got extended, but generally speaking, we've always been able to make the obligations because we can get the guys, we have to work the guys on a Saturday or Sunday, which is not ideal, because we'd like our workers to have weekend days off, particularly for church and just to rest and recover. But yes, that part of the deed's made it very hard. But also, so has the changes in the horticultural award. So I can't just blame the deed. There's also been some huge changes in the horticultural award, and we keep talking about the Tongan people, as we all are, very family people, and naturally want to work together. And if we're following the deed in horticulture, they're not even allowed to share a lane to pick in. They're meant to work separately, which is just ridiculous. People work better in teams, but that's the way the award reads. So it's been challenging, but we've been able to navigate it. But it is more costly because we're using a labour hire company. So yeah.
There is no doubt that the deed is getting more complex, and I think on the Australian side it has been confused a little bit between DFAT and DUA, and I hope no one throws rocks at me for there. We're on our 10th or not 11th mobilisation. Nolo could probably quote me the recruitment plan number, but I don't know that. We have to take photos of every house and submit them. There's one house that we submitted, it's been submitted 8 times prior, been approved. It's all very good accommodation. I would love to live there myself. And we took a photo and the curtains were taken down to wash. And we sent the photos in without curtains and it got knocked back because there wasn't curtains there. So we put the curtains back up and the photos. I think that's bureaucracy going mad. That's my personal opinion. So I got approved for its 9th or 10th approval. Those sorts of things annoy me about the clunkiness of the system. As far as the maintaining the hours, we are fortunate that we're in a manufacturing industry, so we're in a controlled environment. We have no trouble doing the 38 hours. In fact, most of our people would probably average 43 or 45 hours a week. We don't work Sundays, and we rarely work Saturdays. So always have weekends off for church, or always have Sundays off for church. Normally use Saturdays as a shopping day. We have our own company bus, we drive people into town. A lot of people spend their day shopping on Saturday. But they do 10 or 12 hour days some days, which are long days, and we're conscious of that, and we probably need to recruit some more people to try and shorten the hours, but no problem at all with the deed from an hours point of view. A little bit of probably bureaucratic confusion from the accommodation point of view, but no, we're committed to it. We want to be best practice we can, so we don't have any complaints. It's, as we say, it's the cost of doing business. Many years ago, people used to talk about QA and the expense of inspection and quality control, and we said that's the admission price for being in business, and we think the deed is the admission price for being in business. So if that's the rules, we'll do the rules. What I should say, we don't work to an award. We have an enterprise agreement, and in our collaborative agreement, we do have some different flexibilities, which are probably different to the award. But that said, it does pass the boot test, the better off overall test. And I was telling someone at Smoker that one of our team members read a letter that I sent back to the Ministry of Internal Affairs 12 months ago. He had a tear in his eye. He said he thinks he's earning more than the Prime Minister of Tonga. So there is certainly some benefits in coming to Australia, and we've got no complaints with the deed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We might take one last question before our lunch service this afternoon. So if you've got a burning question, this is your last opportunity. There will be another panel discussion a little bit later on in our afternoon session. So we have a question at the back there. George is coming to you loud and clear with the microphone. We'll pass it over to you. And this will be our last question for our panel discussion. Thank you very much.
Talo for Lave, Marunale, everyone. My name is Jason Lalusana, and I'm a postgraduate student in the Masters in Pacific Development program here at ANU. Thank you all so much. I just want to, before I ask my question, acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples, pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, but also extend that same respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. I also want to pay my respects to my elders, Pacific and non-Pacific elders, and of course Her Royal Highness. Thank you, speakers. I thoroughly enjoyed all of your insights and your stories. I'll keep it short because the question is related to what we're studying. Charlotte, the question's for you. In relation to the sister city that you mentioned, I'm interested in the role of Palm in diplomacy, but also what role does the Tongan diaspora have in diplomacy as well? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So, Canada has a number of sister cities that they signed over the years, and they generally were to bigger cities that Canada could gain a lot from, and they wanted to do the opposite. That there was they wanted a sister city where they could give to that sister city, so a smaller community that didn't have such a higher economic wealth. So the reason it started was because we've been employing guys from the Kingdom of Tonga for a number of years, and my father, Robert, was on council at the time, and he still is, and they led a delegation to Tonga. And then the relationship was born with Kolamatua to sign the sister city agreement. I think that there is certainly more to be gained from that relationship than just signing the paper. Some sister city agreements do just sit on the shelf and then nothing happens. So the benefit of this sister city agreement is a very big employer called Stripes, who there's Samir up the back, he used to work for us, has now got a 3-year visa to work with Stripes. And it's just meant that the Tongan community in Gunnedah has grown and will continue to grow. But I think any of these things are just more great PR for Palm in Australia, and it just puts a spotlight on Tonga for you, really. So perhaps that's only a small example. I'd say to the Kingdom of Tonga to set your sights on something even bigger, and why not the City of Sydney or the City of Canberra, and just to continue to get the Tongan name out there, that you're not just fantastic fruit pickers or meat workers, you've got a lot to give, and it's just incredible the people I've met through the delegations that have come through Gunnedah, and we've just been saying, I can't believe the level of education the people of Tonga have, and I think there is certainly room for knowledge sharing between Australia and Tonga, and also not just that you're fantastic rugby league players, and no one's mentioned that at all. You came second in the Pacific Cup. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question. It was a bit convoluted, but there's certainly more to be gained from Tonga. It's such a fantastic country, and I really hope that the Palm is a good introduction, but I'd love to see the relationships even further tighten.
Lovely. I've got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that we have to delay our lunch by 20 minutes while ANU has some logistics they need to take care of up in the eating area. The good news is we can extend our Q&A time by 20 minutes. So that wasn't the last question. In fact, that was one of many to come. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and our roving microphone with King George will make its way around the jungle, and you can ask your questions this afternoon.
Hello, I can't stand up, so I'm going to sit down and say these things. First of all is the pastoral cares. What is your role for us who does the pastoral care with the seasonal workers or the palm? And the next question is, do you think that you're going to get a wife? Thank you.
Before I answer the question, I'm going to just talk about this here. Back in Tonga, I have a girlfriend. When I'm about to choose this program, I tell her about everything. I had to let go of everything. I had to come here just to see my family. And that's the only thing I'm here, just to see my family. Maybe after a few years from here, I'm going to invite you. Yeah, but maybe after I achieve every goal that I'm coming here, then I have to look for someone to be my family.
Hello.
We have a mix of people in our cohort. As I say, there's 193. A lot are Free Wesleyan, a lot of people are Free Church of Tonga, some Catholic, not many Anglican, but a few Anglican. We are respectful of all the religions. Oh, we have a lot of Latter-day Saints as well. It's very popular, or very high proportion in Tonga. The people that join the local churches, we're lucky to have all churches, barring the Church of Tonga, represented in our community, in our region. And on the very first week, I took a carload, or a couple of carloads actually, of people, dropped some at the Church of England, dropped some at the Catholic Church, And as far as I know, most of those people still attend religious services from a religious pastoral care point of view. The people from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they had already made contact with people in the community, and they organised their own, how would you say, their own attendance of services. I don't mind saying I'm Roman Catholic, and we organised a multicultural mass one Sunday, and the parishioners couldn't believe the Tongan choir. We had about 40 Tongan people in a choir that nearly lifted the roof off the church, and it was just fantastic. I know that the Wesleyan Church has also engaged our group of Tongans to sing at the Wesleyan Church. I know that the Church of England has engaged people, so I'm not sure if we're answering your questions. Apart from that, we have some what we'd call elders or leaders in our community. One of our accommodation sites was an old Christian outreach community centre, and it has about 90 beds of accommodation, en-suite accommodation, a large recreational area, community dining hall, and Hala Tuangalu and San Francis and Semi Talfa often lead a Bible readings or a church session on a Sunday. We have had some people visiting reverends. I've only ever been to one Sunday church session at Tachikoi, but I'm sure that if people wish to attend, Reverend, you'd be welcome to attend, and I could put you in contact with Hala Tuangalu. I'm not sure that people of other faith need a contact, but if someone is of different faith and want to reach out to their people, I'm happy to provide contacts for those people as well. So, does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just add to what Terry said. So it's similar. Actually, it's usually my dad who drops the guys at their various churches on a Sunday. Unfortunately, because the guys are working outside, they can't get to church every Sunday, but we really try to make sure they do. We always thought that they'd be able to play touch football during the week, but often we get too busy. And it's interesting what Terry says about the lack of health cover on sporting, which is something that really needs to be looked at, because if we're going to provide pastoral care and the guys are going to become more part of the community, sport is a really great way of that happening. But I'd really love to see some more language programs in Australia, because I feel some of our guys have come for 10 years and I wish their English was better. And unfortunately in a small town like Gunnedah, it's quite hard to find language teachers. But if we're going to strengthen our relationship with Tonga and continue to develop the skills of these guys and girls, I think really through language is really, really key. We really need to improve the English of the guys that are coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another question at the back there, Mr. Carlin, you got the mic?
I have two questions. First is, do you have people with issue with their visa? They have issue with visa. And secondly, is the Australian government covering for their health insurance while they're here?
Yeah, we've had some guys that have abused the visa, but in the 10 years we've been very lucky. I think we've only had 2. For the Australian government covering their health insurance, I don't believe so. I don't believe they're covered under Medicare if they've abused their visa conditions. But I don't think that's right. That's me to answer that question.
As far as healthcare, that's part of the program that I think I spoke to a lady from Kylie, I think from NIB maybe, who's up the back in the audience today. She might even be able to answer that question. And I can't think of, I don't, she'll correct me on these figures, but I think that we deduct about $17.60 a week, and I will stand corrected on that, for basic health care, and everybody is in that. Now that doesn't cover things like pregnancy and those issues in the first year. We've had a number of ladies with endometriosis and have spent some time in hospital, and all those bills have been covered through NIB, to the best of my knowledge. We have had one lady that had a child here, and the bill from the local hospital was close to $80,000 because they had extended time in hospital, and we didn't pay it, nor did the insurance pay it. We just approached the local hospital board and said, these people have come from a poorer country overseas, can you just sort of deal with that? I think the Queensland taxpayer looked after that. I probably shouldn't say that in this room, I'll get in trouble. But we have pretty good relations with the local hospitals and the local doctors. There's one doctor in particular. It's very hard to get a medical appointment. You really need to book 2 weeks in advance, and if you've got the flu this morning, you just want some treatment. We have one doctor in Gympie that we get people to straight away. On the issue of sporting injuries, we have investigated that with NIB, and we have also investigated that with the superannuation, and I think and once again, I shouldn't quote these figures, it's about $6 or maybe $7 a week. You can cover a sporting injury, you can extend your policy, but it doesn't cover you for the first 60 days. We sponsor the local football club, but for the last 2 years we've decided not to sponsor the local football club. It's about $10,000 in sponsorship. We said we're putting that into a fund to help people for those first 60 days if they get injured. And a lot of people have thought, oh, that's great, I don't need insurance. But if you had a bad insurance, you'd need more than the 60 had a broken leg, for argument's sake, or a broken collarbone. Might be the first 30 days. I haven't looked this on the top of my head, but it might be the first 30 days. And we thought if it extends beyond that, you still need coverage. Otherwise, you've got no income and you've broken your leg playing football. So we've told the club that we've diverted our sponsorship away from the club, and we've put it into a fund that may or may not get used. So you try to think outside the square to cater for people, but I really do want to encourage a bit of longer term thinking and planning. For me, I'd be happy to pay the $6 a week, knowing that I'd never need it, but if I got injured, that $300 wouldn't even be a third of a week's wages, wouldn't even be a quarter of a week's wages. So to me it's pretty cheap insurance, but no one's taken up the scheme or taken up the program, so I don't know how we do that. So I think medically people are fairly well covered, yes, there's no real issues there. Can I just talk about one more particular incident? No names mentioned. One guy returned home, it was a mix-up with the visa, and he returned home because his visa expired after only 12 months. And when he got home, he cashed out his superannuation. A part of the superannuation does have a income protection insurance for serious injury. So he's gone home, and it wasn't a lot of money, it might have been $5,000 or $6,000, I can't remember the exact amount. Has gone home, cashed it out, probably to build a house or do something, which you can understand the immediate need for that. And then his visa has come through, so he's come back to Australia. He was only in Australia 3 days, and then he suffered a stroke. And we had to get medical assistance, and NIB flew that person home on a chartered flight because hospitals are free in Tonga, or as I understand it. But you think about that in hindsight, if he could have just held on to that $5,000 in superannuation and not spent it immediately, he could have then had a weekly income protection for the rest of his life because of the stroke. But because he cashed it out, he voided his policy. So they're the sort of things that we're talking about, trying to encourage some longer term planning. And I'm not being critical, it's just a lack of knowledge. And I don't think that $5,000 made a lot of difference to his family in that period. But he could have probably collected, you know, $5,000 a month, I wanted, for the next 20 years. So I think it was a poor decision, and we were just shocked when he said he cashed it out. But it was after the fact. So there's lots of learnings that we can have from this, and we need more information about that. We need to disseminate the information, and we don't want to change the Tongan culture of sharing, but we do want to try and make sure that the people that come here work hard, wake up in the morning with sore hands, push themselves for long hours, that they can look after themselves a little bit in the unfortunate event of a stroke or something like that. Is that help?
We've actually got representatives here from NIB who are going to add a little bit of value to that question about insurance. So I'll pass it over to the back to George Sala and the team at the back from NIB.
Hello everyone. George from NIB Community and Welfare Manager. It's an honour to be here today. Thank you to the Tongan High Commission. I'm mindful that we are presenting later on about some of these topics that we've discussed, but I just wanted to touch on the Medicare, or the two topics that have been brought to the fore at the moment. So the insurance that will explain, it is part of the visa requirements, visa condition, I think 8501, and there's specific requirements in there that is required for temporary workers coming into Australia. There will be a slide that we will compare the two differences between Medicare, that's the system for us here in Australia, we're the one that's entitled to Medicare, versus the benefits and the protections that has been, enforced under these visas, because there is a difference as to why they are in place. So we'll be able to share a little bit more on that. In terms of, it is a mandatory visa requirement, and it is different than Medicare. It's same, but it's also added benefits on top. The second thing I wanted just to mention as well around sporting, just to clarify, NIB do cover sporting injuries. There's 2 things here. One is workers who join the sporting clubs, professional sporting clubs. There's usually insurance associated with those registrations as part of their membership. So our policy means that they must claim through their professional body first. When it comes to sporting rugby, soccer in the backyard, or this weekend we're sponsoring the Timor-Leste soccer tournament. Those types of injuries we do cover under the policy, so there's no exclusions. I think the clarification usually is around when it's a professional body that you're registered under as a club, so they should really be they should claim through that avenue first, and then usually what that means is you can't claim there and you can't claim with us as well. So whatever the outcome of those claims are, we would normally look at it to cover. So that's all within our provision if they've exhausted that avenue first. So it just depends on the situation, as Noel's pointed out. It really depends on what the situation is for the workers. But
specifically, if you're registered as a professional sports person, then you would need to go down the route that you were referring to. But if it's general sporting activity, general weekend type competitions, in that case, we cover them with insurance.
Awesome, thank you very much. Appreciate all the discussion this afternoon. I know a few of you had your hands up and had more questions. Our panelists will be available for you to target them and ask them questions over lunch this afternoon. So I'd like to thank you all for those inquisitive questions, but particularly want to acknowledge our panel today, Terry, Charlotte and Mamamua, for being with us. It's not easy to be in front of people and being quizzed and asked questions on the spot, and they did a marvellous job in responding to them. Can we put our hands together for our panelists this afternoon? Before So we're going through the colours of the rainbow in terms of cars that are parked illegally out in front. We've done red, we've done blue, we've done silver. Now it's the white car. The owner of the white car that is blocking the entrance and not allowing other vehicles in, please move it as soon as you can. The tow truck company are doing a tremendous trade today with all the unauthorised vehicles. So if you are the owner of the white car, please move your car during our lunch break. Now today's lunch has been is put on for us by the Tonga High Commission and NIB. It has been prepared, cooked and served by the Whiawini Tongan Language School here in Canberra. Again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you can take your food from the buffet area, but come over to the tiled area to consume it. That will avoid any spillage or any issues with dirtying the lovely carpets here at ANU. How long is the lunch break? You have 30 minutes, not like our 10 minutes come 30 minutes. This is like real Palangi 30 minutes. So we have got a schedule to keep to, so it's 30 minutes for lunch. Please enjoy. We'll be back here in half an hour. Bon appetit. Aloha.